So you want to make money with a CNC, but how do you actually get to that point? So the first step is to buy a CNC. But I'll be honest, the reason I'm making this video is because I see a lot of people getting this part wrong. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing what everyone focuses on and why it's the wrong approach to buying a CNC. I'll also be sharing the fastest, least painful, most successful way to get into CNC so you can start making money with the things that you make and sell. But before I get into that, I just want you to know that this video isn't sponsored by anybody. These are my own thoughts, and they're thoughts that I have formed myself over the last 7 years and the experiences that I've experienced through my journey with CNC. I will leave the links to everything that I talk about down in the description below. If you want to learn more about it, those links will be there for you. All right, so I'm in a unique position because I have talked directly to hundreds of people. I'm not exaggerating. Hundreds of people that want to get into CNC. And the number one thing they ask me is, what machine should I buy? And I always have a very open conversation. What do you want to do with it? But the number one approach that I try to steer people away from is the performance aspect of CNC. Now, don't get me wrong. There is an aspect, there's a time and a place to think about performance, meaning how fast your CNC can go, how rigid your CNC can go, all these different things. There is a place for that. But for the beginner, performance should not be your top priority. The truth is there are so many things that you need to learn as a beginner getting into CNC that you will never max out the capacity, the performance capacity of a desktop, of a benchtop CNC machine. For example, machine rigidity doesn't matter if you can't figure out the software. The top speed in inches per minute doesn't matter if you can't successfully source good materials to carve. And whether you have a palm router or a spindle doesn't matter if you can't muster up the confidence to hit start. Now, you may be thinking, Andy, those are obvious reasons, but I've come across every single one of those situations where someone has bought a CNC and they completely ignored the accessibility factor. So what's happening is people are just defaulting to thinking that the CNC machine is going to be the limiting factor. Like the machine is going to limit me from making things and selling things. And that's just not true. There are so many things, and I'm going to list them here in a second, things we need to address before we ever get to the money-making part, before we ever consider the performance of our machine. So I've already said it once, but we need to prioritize accessibility over performance. Okay, so what are some limiting factors that actually will limit us from being successful in CNC? Now, I want to preface this whole thing. This isn't to scare anybody. I realized after making this list and going through it, I was like, wow, this really seems daunting listing it out this way. And I thought about like, maybe I should change this, but I don't want to sugarcoat this. I want you to realize the things that you need to figure out in order to get up and running. The last thing I want to do as I talk about making money with CNC, I don't want it to become sensational and make it out to be easy that you can just buy a CNC machine and print money. There are so many things that need to be figured out before that. Luckily, the market has expanded and there's a lot of great companies out there that has made making and selling things on your CNC very accessible. So number one is machine assembly. I see people get caught up on this all the time. They're like, wow, my desktop CNC, my benchtop CNC came in 3 boxes. I actually have to put this thing together? Wow, that's daunting. So number 2 is CAD software. Now, this is figuring out your designs, your vector files. And then you have number 3, which is the CAM side of things, is where you set up the tool paths. So setting up tool paths is the steepest part of the learning curve. Well, maybe other than learning how to sell the things that you make. That's for a different day. I talk about that enough. But the CAM side is the steepest part of the learning curve. All right, number 4 is bits. What bits do I need? Do I need an upcut bit? Do I need a downcut bit? What can I make with a bowl and tray bit? A 60-degree V-groove bit? A lot of different scenarios there and a lot of different options. A lot to learn. All right, number 5, materials. Where am I going to source materials? Where do people buy walnut, hardwood? Where do people get sheet goods? Should I buy from a home store? All valid questions. Number 6, work holding. How am I gonna hold my work to my CNC bed? Am I gonna use clamps? Am I gonna use screws, double-sided tape? Things to figure out there. And lastly, dust collection. Okay, a CNC router creates a lot of dust. I'm gonna have this in my garage. Do I hook up dust collection? Do I use a shop vac? What do I do there? How do I handle the dust? So I ran through those really quickly, but those are 7 limiting factors that we need to figure out ever before we start making money and ever before performance. Let me tell you, all of these CNCs that I talk about and that I recommend are capable. So obviously this isn't an exhaustive list of the things you need to figure out, but you figure these out, you will be off to running to making money with your CNC. By the way, something I want to share real quick is that I've been working extremely hard on my new online course. So it's called the CNC Side Hustle, and it is the only comprehensive CNC side hustle course available. It goes from like the very beginning of purchasing a CNC all the way to turning your side hustle into a stable income stream for you. So be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited to share it with you. So if that's something that interests you, I will leave a sign-up sheet down in the description below. You can put your email address on it, and I will send you an email when it releases, or you can just continue to watch my YouTube videos, and I will announce it here when it's ready. Okay, so I want to put a bow on this concept of what people focus on when they're buying a CNC. They think that they're buying performance, and they want the best performing machine, but they may never get to that point because of the limiting factors that I mentioned. So the bow on top of this, the thing I want you to take away from this video is it takes more than a CNC machine to be successful in CNC. So this is why I continue to recommend a Shapeoko CNC. If you've been around the channel for a long time, or maybe you've bought a Shapeoko, the reason I recommend them above everything else on the market is not because of the CNC machine itself. They make a completely adequate CNC machine. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars with a Shapeoko CNC. So performance is not an issue. But the reason I recommend them is because of the ecosystem that they've created. The people at Carbide 3D, they understand this. They've created an entire ecosystem to support someone getting into CNC. That way they can be successful. That way they don't give up. Things like including software, including bits, including a dust shoe, including one-on-one training, including project files, including software. Did I already say that? They create their own software, CAD and CAM software. And then my favorite thing is they have a 60-day mistakes on us. If you break something on your CNC because you weren't scared and you hit that button and you hit go, they'll replace it. So they are committed to seeing you be successful. Now, you need to be successful in CNC, operating a CNC in order to make money. So that's why I recommend they have a streamlined ecosystem. It is the fastest way to get up and running in CNC to make money with said CNC. So like I said at the beginning of this video, this isn't to intimidate anybody from jumping headfirst into CNC. But the truth is, if you're brand new to CNC, you should expect the first couple months to be filled full of trial and error. With all the available resources, I believe anybody that commits to learning is willing to fail a little bit and can exercise a little bit of patience can be successful in CNC. So hopefully this video painted a clear picture for you and what is important to prioritize in order to be successful in selling the things that you make. So you may be thinking, okay, Andy, you brought up all these potential hurdles. How do I overcome them? Well, I created this video right here for you in order to address those. Click right here and I will see you in that video.